Shalom, welcome to Rob on the Rock. I'm Rob Van Hoffen. Here we are, day 4 for Hanukkah, and we're looking today at Isaiah 42. If you haven't watched days 1, 2, and 3, please go and do so, because those are going to set the stage and provide the bigger context of why we're looking at this passage here. So we're going to look at Isaiah 42. Now remember, Isaiah lived similar to the time of Hosea, towards the end of Solomon's temple era. And here we're going to read some beautiful scripture that brings again to mind the giving of the Torah in the world. The giving of justice is equated with light, bringing light to those who are in darkness. So let's read. Behold my servant whom I uphold, my chosen one, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him. He will bring forth justice to the nations. He will not cry out or raise his voice, nor make his voice heard in the street. A bruised reed he will not break, and a dimly burning wick he will not extinguish. He will faithfully bring forth justice. He will not be disheartened or crushed until he has established justice in the earth, and the coastlands will wait expectantly for his Torah. So what does it mean he will not be crushed or disheartened until? Does that mean after he established justice in the earth, then he'll be disheartened nor crushed? No, that's not what this means. This is an idiom from the Bible. That is just to say that he will in fact bring his goal to full fruition. He will establish justice in the earth, and there will not be any disheartened or crushed takeover, right? It will not be bumped from his path. The coastlands will wait expectantly for his Torah. So here, Torah is valued as something from God, a gift from God that people long for. They long for truth. Thus says God the Lord, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and its offspring, who gives breath to the people on it and spirit to those who walk in it. I am Adonai. I have called you in righteousness. I will also hold you by the hand and watch over you. And I will appoint you as a covenant to the people, as a light to the nations, to open blind eyes. Remember, we're going to see this in a few days when we get to John 9 and 10. A light to the nations, to open blind eyes, to bring out prisoners from the dungeon, and those who dwell in darkness from the prison. I am Adonai, that is my name. I will not give my glory to another, nor my praise to graven images. Behold, the former things have come to pass. Now I declare new things. Before they spring forth, I proclaim them to you. Sing to Adonai a new song. Sing his praise from the end of the earth. You who go down to the sea and all that is in it, you islands and those who dwell on them. Let the wilderness and its cities lift up their voices. The settlements where Kedar inhabits, let the inhabitants of Selah sing aloud. Let them shout for joy at the tops of the mountains. Let them give glory to Adonai and declare his praise in the coastlands. Adonai will go forth like a warrior. He will arouse his zeal like a man of war. He will utter a shout. Yes, he will raise a war cry. He will prevail against his enemies. I have kept silent for a long time. I have kept still and restrained myself. Now, like a woman, I labor. I will grow in labor. Now, like a woman in labor, I will groan. I will both gasp and pant. I will lay waste the mountains and hills and wither all their vegetation. I will make the rivers into coastlands and dry up the ponds. I will lead the blind by a way they do not know. In paths they do not know, I will guide them. I will make darkness into light before them, and rugged places into plains. These are the things I will do, and I will not leave them undone. They will be turned back and be utterly put to shame, who trust in idols, who say to molten images, you are our Elohim, you are our gods. Hear, you deaf, and look, you blind, that you may see. Who is blind but my servant, or so deaf as my messenger whom I send? Who is so blind that who is so blind as he that is at peace with me, or so blind as the servant of Adonai? You have seen many things, but you do not observe them. Your ears are open, but none hears. Adonai was pleased for his righteousness' sake to make the Torah great and glorious. But this is a people plundered and despoiled. All of them are trapped in caves or are hidden away in prisons. They have become a prey with none to deliver them, and a spoil with none to say, give them back. Who among you will give ear to this? Who will give heed and listen hereafter? Who gave Jacob up for spoil and Israel to plunderers? Was it not Adonai, against whom we have sinned, and in whose ways they were not willing to walk, whose Torah they did not obey? So he poured out on him the heat of his anger and the fierceness of battle, and it set him aflame all around, yet he did not recognize it, and it burned him, but he paid no attention. This is words of Isaiah chapter 42. And if we go back and just, it's such a powerful passage because there's different meanings for blindness here and seeing. It says, those who trust in idols, who say to molten images, you are our gods. The image here from the prophets is that the people become like what they worship. So they worship non-existent gods. They worship idols that have eyes but cannot see, have noses but cannot smell, have mouths but cannot speak, have ears but cannot hear. So what happens is those idolaters become more and more hardened in their heart. And then he says, hear, you deaf, look, you blind, that you may see. But then he says this, who is blind but my servant, or so deaf as my messenger whom I send? How can it be that the idolaters become blind and deaf by worshiping idols, right? Those images that have eyes that can't see, ears that cannot hear, etc. Why would the prophet shift here and say that God's servant is blind, God's messenger is deaf? Who is so blind as he that is at peace with me? Who is so blind as the servant of the Lord? This is a different kind of blindness. The deafness and the blindness that the servant of the Lord has is to the things of the world. God's servants are blind to the things of the world. They are deaf to the things of the world. That is, the evil things. They are not swayed. If you imagine the picture of, in the United States, of justice, of Lady Justice, the image is a woman holding up the scales, but she has her eyes blindfolded. There, the blindness and the deafness is good. Why? Because it means that justice comes from somewhere else. Justice does not come from human sight, from human ears, but from what God sees. And then God gives his prophets the word. He gives his priests the words from him, so that they are not influenced by what they hear in this world. They are not influenced by what they see in this world in terms of things that would distort justice, things that would cause them to turn away from righteousness, things that they would turn towards a bribe, for example, or that they would show favoritism to the rich over the poor, or the poor over the rich, or someone they know versus a stranger that they don't know. They are blind and deaf to those types of temptations. That's what verse 19 means. Who is blind but my servant? Who is so deaf? Who is so blind that he is at peace with me? So those who are at peace with God are his children, and they have peace with him because they are in Yeshua. And that means that they are seeing with eyes of faith. They are hearing with ears of faith, not with eyes that are pursuing the things of this world, or ears that want to be tickled with false teaching. No. Verse 19 is a different kind of blindness. It's a different kind of deafness. It's asserted as positive and good in God's eyes. And then the contrast in verse 20 is you, meaning God's people. You have seen many things, but you do not observe them. Your ears are open, but none hears. So then it goes back to the servant, though. The Lord, Adonai, is pleased for his righteousness' sake to make the law great and glorious. Such an important passage. This is what Yeshua accomplishes. He brings the Torah to the whole world. And what that is a picture of, he is a light in the world, and that is the light put in its proper place, which is on the lampstand to give light to all who are in the house, and that people will see those who are doing good deeds out of faith, not to be seen by men, but out of faith and out of love for God, that others will see that, and it will be like light, and they will glorify your Father who is in heaven. That means they will recognize the light for its source, from its source, which is God, not us. Shalom.